Hey folks, Mark here from SeaWild Earth and welcome to our first wild adventure for 2023. Now there's a big difference here because normally from all of the films I've done in the past where we've gone looking for wildlife, I've always gone up into the jungles of the very north of the island. But tonight I'm down here still in the south. In fact, I'm only about a 20-minute drive from my apartment. But I've come to this awesome little area that I've been walking around for the last couple of months really, and just slowly getting a feel for what is here. And it is actually it's like a diamond in the rough. It's pretty awesome to have all of the concrete jungle that is the southern part of Okinawa pretty much all around, but then this really nice expanse of green in the middle, which has some hopefully pretty awesome wildlife. Now we are at the beginning of the season. We're at the beginning of spring. In fact, the day of spring is a few days away. But what I'm looking for tonight is the green tree frogs, because once they start coming out and once they start getting into their prolongation of the species, as it were, then that signals all of the arrival of the predators. And by predators I mean normally the snakes, the habu. But this area is also a place where I've seen in the past a species of habu that I haven't introduced to you yet. We've seen the Okinawa habu and we've seen the Hime habu, but we haven't actually seen on video yet the Taiwan habu. Which is unfortunately an invasive species, but you generally tend to find them more in the south than the north, which is why we haven't seen them in the jungles yet, or at least not on video. So hopefully if we can find one, that'd be awesome. But the gist of tonight is to try and find the green tree frog. I'm going to be taking photos and I'll walk you around the area. There'll be some commentary over the top, but hopefully it'll just be a medley of encounters with different wildlife, and we'll just take it from there. So let's crack into it. Frog hunting we shall go. Now, as with any year, as it gets underway, it's always worth heading out just to see, what the nature is up to. And so I picked this night. It was nice weather, although in hindsight it could have been maybe a couple of degrees warmer. But that said, there were still a few usual suspects hanging around. This Asian grass frog, one of the more prominent species that we bump into throughout Okinawa. I've left the camera gear behind or the photography gear at the car, because it was just getting too cumbersome, just me on my own trying to do photo and video. But I came up into the jungle a bit after dropping it off. We come up to this kind of like pathway, and because these rocks, they retain the heat from the day, they generally tend to be a bit of a magnet for reptiles and amphibians, more so reptiles. And I just saw a couple of the Kuraiwa's ground gecko, really awesome little geckos. They are an endangered species, and I'm whispering, so I hope I'm not frightening them off or whatever. But what we're going to try and do is try and take a look and see if we can find some more, and I will endeavour to film them if I can. Cool beans. Now, of all of the subjects that I meet in the Ambaru and in Okinawa, Kuraiwa's ground gecko has to be my favourite, just because of how photogenic it is with the red reflecting retinas. He's just a pretty awesome looking dude. Now, what was evident on some of the flowers was the farming antics of the red ants. They would harvest the aphids, who in turn, as they feed on the surface of the plants, they produce this sweet little clear liquid like a nectar, and the red ants, they duly devour that nectar. Now, sadly, I just missed the act of the physical spawn of these new eggs from a couple of Asian grass frogs, but it was quite strange to see that as soon as they did spawn, the existing tadpoles in this little water pond would go up and quite happily graze on their newly introduced siblings. Now, as the night wore on, more and more amphibians came out to play, and it wasn't long before the air was filled with the staccato calling of the Ryukyu green tree frog. And here they are. Hey folks, so how was that? That was pretty cool. Quite a bit more wildlife than I was expecting. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to blind you. Quite a bit more wildlife tonight out than I thought we'd see, but how cool were those tree frogs? Now they are actually a bit subdued tonight. Within the next week or two, they should be getting into their mating. Because they were subdued tonight, actually not that many out, only found about 3 or 4. Yeah, that's probably the reason why we didn't see any snakes. But I'm sure, seeing as it's at least the first trip of the year anyway, that it's a great base to be able to build on. Saw some cool critters, the Kuroiwa's ground gecko, always nice to see that guy. Unfortunately endangered, heavily poached because of for the wild pet trade, and you can see why. Such beautiful eyes, the red eyes, and just the pattern in general. A stunning little creature. So guys and girls, if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel, hit the little notifications bell so that you'll be updated as and when there's new content available from yours truly. And please also note that the membership now is open. I'm still waiting to welcome my first member, but supporting me that way will allow me to, over time, dedicate more time to creating content like this. I am actually filming at the moment with my photographic lenses. I'd love to be able to film eventually with Cineglass and bring a more cinematic feel to the productions, but that's hopefully sometime down the road. But until that time, folks, I'm going to say adios, arrivederci, au revoir. Stay happy, stay safe, stay sane, if that is possible. I know in my case it's quite difficult. But until the next time, take care, all the best, be well.